Okay.
How are you yesterday? How did you do?
You know, I played the monster on FanDuel and I cashed and I think everybody busted in every spot and yet I still cashed. I got to play that more often. I had Paul George. He had 2 points. I had everybody was terrible and I ended up cashing. I had no Luka. Oh, I guess I got lucky because they sat in the whole fourth quarter. So I didn't have Luka in that and. I don't even know how I did it, but I just somehow cashed in that thing, and that made my night on in my whole thing in basketball and baseball. I got a little tilted because I had Bregman got he got pulled out, he got hurt. That would have helped out, to say the least. I did win money on baseball. No, I did not win money on baseball. But I won a little on basketball because of what I just said.
Yeah, I don't think I had any Houston stacks without Bregman.
I know.
Yesterday was the first day in a while where I just got crushed. I just could not get it together. Could not get the right mix anywhere. Even had some good calls and late swaps, but just nothing.
All right, so you got to help me then. We got only 45 minutes, right?
Let's do it. Yeah, we got plenty of time.
All right, so who do you like the most between? I was going to do FanDuel first, if you wouldn't mind. Who do you like more between Lillard, Harden, Giannis, and
Harden
and LeBron? Harden and LeBron?
Yeah.
Okay. So let me ask you.
I think there's a good chance that Anthony Davis has just an absolutely monster game tonight, but it seems like the smartest thing at this point in the day is to try and commit to Harden and LeBron.
Okay.
I mean, it's a must-win situation. This is where motivation and all that stuff. I mean, and LeBron played it. You saw LeBron the other day. There's a reason he had the highest fantasy point total of everybody because they needed every bit of it, and they still couldn't win. I'm guessing they come out like that tonight. Now, obviously, if it's a different story and the game script could change, but if the game script goes where they're in trouble, you'd think that it would be LeBron and AD. And honestly, I'm flirting with the idea on DraftKings in my only big one of just potentially playing those 3 guys and then skipping the other guys, which feels crazy. I still think Harden's the best play, but it's I don't see other people doing that combination, and I could see it going nuts.
Okay. The other main question I had for you, obviously we don't know. We still don't know who's playing in this Indiana game.
No, Oladipo's in.
I like Oladipo then.
I like him too on FanDuel.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I'm not.
Who else do you need? I mean, who else do you like? It's shooting guard besides Harden.
So that's the thing here. Give me a second. I'm trying to get this out to some people so we can actually get some people on the show too. It takes 10 minutes while we're on this stream thing on my computer, so it's kind of hard to get all this stuff together. So I'm trying to make this work. All right. Let me get my FanDuel pulled up. I like Schroeder. So Schroeder would be the other one. I'm guessing Oladipo.
I like Shea some too, I guess.
I mean, yeah, one day he might actually have a game.
You think so?
No, I don't think it'll be today. But maybe it will be today. There's just no the way that they're running things. That offense ran so strictly through Chris Paul that honestly, if it was a normal type of thing and we didn't have so many superstars and all that stuff, you could make an argument for Chris Paul. The thing I'm flirting with is that do I want to play a Chris Paul, a Jimmy Butler as a third spend up-ish, or do I want to try and go all the way and try and hammer the value, which I don't love? So let's talk about the value because there are 2 guys I want to ask you about. One is whatever. Well, first of all, the one that stands out for me, what's Hassan Whiteside? 4,500.
No, I know that, but aren't we just playing him?
I'm playing PJ Tucker instead of Hassan Whiteside all day.
Really?
I mean, look, Hassan Whiteside, you're playing for upside. So this guy gets in the game the other night. He could have played as little as 7 or 8 minutes potentially in that game. He played because the Lakers did the dumbest thing, and they're doing this dumb thing because Anthony Davis is lazy in his attitude about certain things. he will not. He hates playing center, so he likes to play with a center. It absolutely is their worst offense. It's their worst lineups. They're way better with him as the center. But if they're gonna, which I think they're gonna adjust today, I think there's a chance like JaVale McGee or Dwight, one of those guys may not play like almost any minutes. I really do. I think if they're smart, they'll play AD at the 5, which is going to shrink Portland up a little bit, even though Portland's still got all the size and everything. Well, I don't see the need for like Whiteside to, yeah, he was good in the last game. And by the way, he was good, but like he barely outscored PJ Tucker, and I know PJ Tucker's going to play 40 minutes. And honestly, PJ Tucker, how many minutes did he play? And they won by 35 the other night, or they're up by.
He's going to play 40 minutes. Yeah. I mean, he always.
So I'll take that guy all day over, and he played 34 in the last game because they were up by 35. But yeah, I like PJ Tucker instead. I think he'll be lower owned. I think everybody's going to flock to Whiteside. I can always make a turn later if I leave 300 on the table, and I can always switch over to Whiteside if I like the strength of my lineup. Because I do think. Well, I don't know. Actually, I don't even know. I mean, Tucker's safer for the minutes. Whiteside's going to produce while he's on the court, but I don't know how long that's going to be. He gets played off the court a lot, and I know he played well the other night. I don't think we should look at that as gospel. The Lakers will make adjustments to the playoffs, and I expect that to be what happened. Nick Dunbar is asking if we're going back to Schroeder. I like Schroeder. I think he's a really interesting pivot. I'm trying to pull up and the projected ownerships, obviously, in basketball, especially for the later games, we should just acknowledge that they're terrible. They're not saying that people are making a mistake. They just, everything's wrong. The other night, I think Lillard was projected on DraftKings to be like, even though last time I think Harden was projected to be like 90%, and Lillard was somehow still projected to be like 38% owned, and he was 6% owned. So use that for what you will. I do want to acknowledge, I think Schroeder's a much better play today than he was the other day. I hated that they put him in the starting lineup. I think it hurts their team when they do that. Or actually, I don't know if they did, but they played him all the minutes. I like him with some of that bench run where he can take over that second unit. Chris Paul's still going to play a lot more minutes than usual tonight, but I just think he's interesting more in that type of facilitating role. And also with Dort there, the thing is they had Schroeder do the best job of anybody on Harden. So that means they put now with Dort coming back, you'd imagine that Dort's going to get the full, every minute he's on the court, he'll be on Harden pretty much. So I don't think Schroeder will have to use his energy on that side of it. There's a lot of reasons I think that he's an interesting play tonight.
So I have two more questions, then we can just get into it if you want. Yeah. I can't forget to ask you this. What do you think of well, again, we can wait on it, but what do you think of the possibility of Rondo playing? And if not, do you like Caruso at all to play minutes and whatever? So tell me about that position.
I don't feel good about any of that.
Okay.
But I mean, look, Caruso would make some sense from yeah, sure.
No, but what do you think about Rondo?
Why don't we play KCP or Danny Green or something too? Like those guys are to be the same conversation to me.
But okay. But if Rondo is playing, I mean, we want to play him.
No. He doesn't even play.
Oh, okay.
I mean, Rondo. People forget like Rondo wasn't like a part of this team. He was like he played. What did he play? 18 minutes a game or something. He's not. He'll play more with Avery Bradley gone, and they're going to look like needing a savior. But I don't know what we can expect from him minutes.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Actually, with Oladipo out, do we not have any interest in Aaron Holiday on?
Oladipo's not out.
I mean, with Oladipo playing.
I have interest in Aaron Holiday because he's going to be. He's going to be completely. I have interest in Aaron Holiday because he's going to be completely unowned. I also have no reason to think Rondo. I don't know if Rondo's playing. I have not heard that he's playing tonight from anybody.
Yeah, I've heard speculation that he might. You know
I know. These things are just. It's important to speculate, but it's just these are so weird.
Okay. Yeah. I guess the next thing we have to talk about is Orlando, right? So we still don't know if Aaron Gordon's playing, correct?
Correct.
Are you going to go back to the same guys from Orlando if he doesn't play? I mean, are you going to go back to Clark? Are you going to go back to Ennis? I don't even know if you played him, but Ennis and Clark and those guys?
Yeah, especially Ennis is my preferred guy. Seems to be eating up a good amount of that usage. Gary Clark, I don't think is going to take 12 threes every game, but again, in certain situations, I guess you could say against Milwaukee, which is what they're going to allow you, maybe he will actually take some threes again, but I don't know if it'll be 12 of them. I'm just going to take a quick look because it's so slow. It's so frustrating because I literally have been still searching to see a Rondo thing. Okay, so I've got my Rondo projections now, basically averaging out to around 8 to 10 minutes maybe. So I'm just going to because I needed to see that for myself because I was confused because I heard some things too, and I'm just like, wow,
Now,
we are.
now again, I keep forgetting the answer to this question. Like when they project something like Rondo for 8 to 10 minutes, does that mean that 50% of the time he plays 20, 50% he plays 0?
No.
You know what I mean? Like,
No.
Okay.
Especially coming off an injury, or not even injured, not playing, not being on the part of the team, not even being in the bubble. I just think it's really, really a huge speculation if we try and play him here, like ridiculous, like really bad. So Oladipo, I'm looking at the ownership. I think you're actually going to have similar ownership on him and Schroeder. It looks like at shooting guard. That is the interesting sort of an interesting position because you obviously want to play hard and people are going to play SGA. And I'm saying he's going to put up a score at some point. It's been very consistent that he just has done absolutely nothing forever. Basically, I don't even know if he's had a good game. So if people want to keep playing the chalk SGA, they can go ahead and do that. I'm just not going to do that. I think Chris Middleton's a great play. I think he's like a really, really good tournament play. 7K just seems ridiculous. I really think Middleton could be interesting. I think McCollum's kind of interesting, but I think that Jimmy Butler at no ownership might be the next guy I would sort of side with. He's the second tier star that can outscore the stars. You know what I mean? He can put up 55, or not outscore, but like, you know, I think Jimmy Butler and Chris Paul have an excellent chance to both score 50 fantasy points tonight for what it's worth.
Would you go back to definitely a much less appealing price, but just based on the same concept, maybe now at lower ownership? Would you go back to Danilo?
Yeah, I like Danilo a ton. I mean, he owns this team. This is not a fluke. He does this every single time he plays this team. The way they guard him is going to leave him with jump shots, and the thing is, his release is so high and he's so long that there's no physical way they can defend him. Harden's a great post defender. Actually, he's one of the best in the NBA from the guard spot, and he guards the big men really well. But you can't do anything. You just got to hope he misses because he's just too long. So Danilo is a terrific play. I just don't know if he's the best play there. I do want to mention one other guy who's an off the board play at shooting guard that maybe if you want to mix some things out in the later games and check things out, Gary Trent is a really interesting one. Also, we have Terrence Ross, who no one's going to go back to, or hardly anyone's going to. Gary Trent's going to play 30-plus minutes. He's 4.2. Yeah, he's not going to do, but if he gets hot enough, 4.2 he could pay off. There's a lot of guys like that, but Gary Trent, Terrence Ross, those are the sort of the lower end of your wild card GPP plays. Same with Duncan Robinson, but he's better on DraftKings because of the three-pointer.
Back to Eric Gordon.
Yes, but I don't think you need to, but I do like him. I really like Covington. I have no problem playing Covington, who everyone's going to jump off from the other day. So that's what I'm thinking about doing.
On FanDuel, they're not going to jump off because there's literally nobody you can play. I mean, you play AD, Bam, and Covington. I mean, right?
Yeah, I guess that's a good point. Well, Clark and Green, and actually even Kuzma's in play at his price. But yeah, you're right. That's true. I didn't realize that exactly. I'm just trying to get my FanDuel build here. So Sheets, let's talk about who's sort of like the main guys who were getting.
Yeah, I'll tell you that was even in his first 3 minutes. That take was really, really sharp. By the way, the PJ Tucker over Hassan Whiteside, because if the people that are going to pay down at center, I mean, every one of them is going to play Hassan Whiteside. You know what I mean? I mean, you don't have to pay down at center, but if you do, that's where you're going to go, and Tucker's going to be like 0. I mean.
Right.
So does it concern you? Not concern you, but like you're prioritizing LeBron and Harden. I mean, does it concern you that we might get that mad Giannis game where when they let him play 38 minutes, he scores 100 fantasy points?
No, I'm totally aware of that. I mean, if he plays 38 minutes, I know that
as many minutes as he needs to play. I mean.
Yeah, no, I mean, of course he could put up a monster game. Is the situation as good as it is for Harden? No. But is he in play? For sure. I would rather try to – there's a lot of guys I'd like to get together. I'm just going to see something real quick. AD is going to be really popular on FanDuel, so I'm trying to stay away from that and go to LeBron because I think LeBron gets unowned on FanDuel. And I think that's going to be a mistake. But you have to make some concessions. Hey, K9 Bronco, what's up? Go-to core real quick, the guys who I would be using the most. DraftKings, I'll just give you like 4 or 3 or 4 that you want to have. You're using one of you're using one of Harden, Giannis, or LeBron or Davis, potentially 2 of those. My preference is Harden and LeBron, followed by Giannis and Davis. Davis, I could see making me eat those words, but that's the way I've got it stacked up right now. Jimmy Butler is my favorite. I don't want to say off the board. I just feel like he's not going to end up getting the ownership he should because everyone's going to try to pay up. I think we go back to Markelle Fultz on DraftKings today. I think the minutes are there. I'm still fine with DJ Augustin's a tournament play, but I think that Fultz is the better play today, especially because I think they're going to get their bell rung today. I was going to play Edmund Sumner, who's going to be my big value saver that was going to save me all the stuff tonight, but I can't do him anymore because of I was hoping Oladipo was going to be out in that specific build. So I'm sort of struggling right now a little bit, trying to play Harden and LeBron on DraftKings. Is the DraftKings on FanDuel? There's the obvious plays, but again, I'm still going to 2 of Harden, LeBron, Giannis, and Davis. That's basically the answer. Crowder's in and started, which we expect.
It's very interesting that you're not interesting. I guess I shouldn't be surprised that you're going this route.
Which route is that?
I mean, just really, I don't want to say banking on, just like really taking that stand that it's going to be a LeBron, it's going to be a LeBron day.
I mean, I think the only way it's not is if AD goes off and they destroy him, and I don't see that happening. I just think there's a lot of pressure. I mean, this is as much pressure as I want to say LeBron's faced in. I could safely say I think this might be the most pressure he's had in a game if it was a real game. Like, if it was like in a stadium, with people. It's probably the most he's faced since he was in Miami, because he has not been a favorite basically ever since then. So he's only had the Eastern Conference wins to get through, and that was nothing. I mean, that was the worst conference in the history of sports. I think they're really concerned here. I just think that it's a must win. You know what I mean? Like, they got to treat every game like a must win, but this game, getting behind 2-0 to a team that looks honestly like a better team than yours is scary when you're the number 1 seed and you're supposed to be the GOAT and all that stuff. So LeBron's going to take this one personally. He's going to go after it. I'm starting to like this Gary Trent idea and maybe getting a little game stack. I also think you can play Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. These are not exciting things, by the way, but these guys are going to play minutes, and if they get hot, they can be your value that you use to save you and maybe make a run later on. I also think with Jay Crowder in, he is firmly in play. I hope we don't have – let me see if we've got a minutes projection on him, because I'm really trying to pay down in certain spots on FanDuel. It's pretty clear to see what I'm doing over there. I really want to play LeBron and Lillard and Harden over there. I'm a little concerned that Lillard's the most likely to let down, obviously. I'm confused at the minutes projection for Crowder. Is he really supposed to be banged up? Because he's been playing in the 30s, but even the production projection is a little bit lower than I would have thought. But no one's going to play him over here now, which is weird because he was like 40. Jay Crowder was the same price the other day and was like 48% owned, and he got hurt in the game, and now he's going to be unowned. And that just seems weird,
Yeah.
So I'll go back to that. All right, here we go. I've got my lineup, man. I think I've got it. The Gary Trent thing is really thin, but I can always pivot later too. The main guys I'm getting in, like on FanDuel in the first game. And look, you don't need to play these guys. You can play either Holiday because they're value savers. You can play Jay Crowder as a value saver. You can play Gary Clark as a value saver. You can play Duncan Robinson as a value saver. PJ Tucker. That's sort of a little bit of what I'm looking to do over here. And I think there's going to be a game script means everything. So I think that's what we have to be ready for tonight. And I just want to say, like, I do think one of these slates in the playoffs, Duncan Robinson's is going to break it. So it feels weird to play Gary Trent over him. And maybe I don't need to do that, but I don't want to lock in Duncan Robinson in the first game and compromise my flexibility later on. That's the problem I'm having on FanDuel. And I know the Gary Trent thing sounds nuts. It's probably going to end up being somebody else. But Gary Trent playing 30-plus minutes in a game that I'm stacking is at least is somewhat appealing to me, especially because they're using him to guard LeBron. So I think he'll be on the court a lot. So, okay. KCP was 0 for 11 in the last game. Absolutely agree. KCP is, again, another guy who I just find myself having a hard time pulling the trigger on KCP and Duncan Robinson on FanDuel, whereas on DraftKings, I feel more than happy to pull that trigger. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're
intriguing. You're intriguing me with the scary trend thing.
Because we need the savings, and if you're going to do a build like I just did. Like, if I'm going to play those three guys, I basically have to do that. The other long shot I'm just going to mention, and I'm definitely going to have this guy in my small buy-in tournaments today. I love – first of all, if you pay down at center, you can always play Steven Adams on FanDuel, but he's a little bit more expensive. But I really, really, really love the idea of taking a shot with Nerlens Noel.
Why are you laughing? Why not? I mean,
it's a prayer play. Well, they didn't play him at all the last game until the game was over. He didn't. He literally was the 12th man on their bench in the last game. So that's the reason why not. But the reason why is like they lost the game badly. Don't you think they might make some adjustments? And while
I don't know if that's the answer though.
What do you mean?
I mean, I don't know if that's the answer, the adjustment they would want. You know what I mean? Like they would need to make.
Well, the weirdest part is they got basically out-rebounded by a Houston team that's like 4 feet tall.
That's true.
This is the first time – I don't know if they ended up getting out-rebounded, but when the game was still a blowout, this was the only time I'd ever seen that Houston team since they've gone to this out-rebounded team. And that's weird. And not to mention, on top of that, OKC is like a good rebounding team when they used to be the best rebounding team in basketball over the last 5 years. Best offensive rebounding team. You know, it's interesting on DraftKings, the difference in the builds is a lot. Like Eric Bledsoe is just, and I like him on both sides actually, but I think that I like him a little bit better on draft. There's a lot of this good mid-range on DraftKings. I like it quite a bit. In fact, it feels a little bit funny to be paying for Fultz at higher ownership at just 800 less than Bledsoe. But the thing is, Bledsoe tends to get a little bit of his gets the job done a lot of times when they don't really need Giannis or
you could play all of them. I mean, you could play Bledsoe, Harden, and Fultz.
Yeah, you could. I mean, the problem is, so I'm trying to get Jimmy Butler into one of my two big lineups. I think I love Jimmy Butler. I don't understand. So this guy, you know, he has sort of a little bit of a. They sort of handled him a little bit easily the other night. They had a hot shooting off the bench from Hero, so they didn't need Butler to shoot that much. Took 15 shots. He's put up 48 fantasy points. The last time he played this team, he put up 50 fantasy points. The time before that, he put up 50 fantasy points. This is a playoff game. I'm expecting Jimmy Butler in a close game to put up 50 fantasy points tonight. I really am. He's the guy who makes the engine go. Dragic got on fire in the second quarter and third quarter last time, but Jimmy Butler is the guy who makes it. He plays point guard basically for them. He really is their point guard. So I'm treating Jimmy Butler like a very, very high end priority play. What worries me is that he tries to take on the defensive assignment against TJ Warren and ends up spending his time on that end. I really hope that doesn't happen, especially with Crowder in too. You could rotate Crowder and Iguodala over there, but if he does that would probably limit some of his value. Make sense?
Yeah, I mean, and again, I'm on draft. You know, somebody that you had mentioned who I kind of want to play is Duncan Robinson. Yeah, I mean, he's small forward eligible. That helps.
That's right. You're right. It absolutely does help. At 3,900 too. I mean, you could certainly do worse. It is weird not having that news, by the way, with Gordon. You would think after they won the first game, just let the guy sit again, right? Like maybe we found something here. Like we were supposed to.
I mean, like this is going to be like kind of annoying, but I think they're going to say something like he's available off the bench or like whatever. I think regardless he doesn't play. I think he doesn't play a full run, and it makes it even harder to figure out what to do.
Well, I'm treating it like he doesn't play because like why the hell would you play this guy? I mean, I'm serious. Like you just You know what's so crazy today? Like even the pasta. It's not because he's playing, I don't think, but it's funny because they're actually bigger favorites today after losing game 1 than they were in game 1, which is just really weird to see. I've almost never seen that happen before. Like you upset, and because it's not only like they just like not like something fluky happened game 1. They got worked. They got outplayed. Yeah, I mean, anyway, I think today is going to be a different story, but they got worked. I'm going to get rid of Aaron Holiday over here on DraftKings. I'm going to play Aaron Holiday on FanDuel. I don't think I'm going to end up with I'm telling you, man, I don't understand what happened exactly with the Indiana rotations last time because they were weird, but I feel like that's going to be your sneaky guy who ends up getting it done.
Aaron Holiday?
Holiday.
It's going to be tough. I mean, and the other thing is that with Oladipo playing, I guess.
No, but even with Oladipo playing last week, he was still considered a great play going down. It wasn't like that changed anything from that perspective.
Do you like TJ Warren at all?
So, yes, as a tournament dart, maybe, but I actually think this is the time you don't play TJ Warren personally.
Okay.
You know, I'm having a very hard time when it comes to actually building these lineups. I'm having a hard time fading Harden, even though I know the variability that he could be really he really could be like outscored by all these guys. I mean, these other guys may need them. I don't know. It's. I don't think I can do it.
What, fade Harden?
I'm done with it. I'm not even going to have the conversation anymore. I'm not doing it.
I mean, the fact of the matter is that, I mean, he was basically just jerking around for like a full half, and he still got like 60 fantasy points.
I mean, yeah, he was just they literally trapped him and did everything and all that, and also he would have had more if the game was more competitive. He would have ended up getting there easily, and you can't assume this team is going to just keep blowing OKC out, considering nobody's blown OKC out like all year long. I want to ask you talk to you really quick about Iguodala because the minutes looked good the other day. He actually looked pretty good, even though none of his offensive output would show it. I mean, I'm screaming for value here, and I think I talked myself out of it. I had to say it out loud in order to just say no.
Well, you know what? But you did bring up something. I mean, that we have to keep in mind is the status of Jay Crowder, right?
Yeah. He's playing though. I mean,
he is okay.
Yeah, we talked about that. Yeah.
Okay.
So if you did fade Harden and played Giannis and LeBron, you could get a much better lineup, or a little better.
What you probably want to do is play LeBron and Lillard.
No, I understand the correlation, but I don't think Lillard doesn't need to take over these games. Like, they've got weapons. It's only when they're desperate that they need him. That they really need him. Obviously, he's going to try and do everything. I'm not saying, don't get me wrong. But I'll have that on FanDuel already. And I think that the answer over here, I really wanted to play a Giannis and Harden. It's weird that, this is crazy. This is going to sound nuts. And they did an incredible job on Giannis the other day. I couldn't believe how good of a job they did, but he's going to get there. What if you just faded all of the top tier? What could we build here?
Probably a losing day. I don't know.
I actually am not so sure because there's not any value.
That's true. Well, what do you mean? You want to do like a Butler thing?
Like Butler, you play what's his name? Brogdon. Yeah, because your best value right now, in the 4Ks, if you did him, Brogdon, Middleton. Started to like this Middleton thing a little bit.
Yeah.
There's something there. It's too cheap for him if the game's supposed to be close. He just struggled the other night. I don't understand how they all struggled, but they did. It's Covington.
Has Covington ever really put up a lot of fantasy points?
He's 6K. He puts up 40.
Okay, I'm just wondering.
So that's what I'm building with 40s and whatever. I mean, he's putting up 35 to 40s or whatever. But like on FanDuel, obviously you kind of need him because of the power forward. If you're not playing AD, what are you going to do? But on DraftKings, I'm kind of liking this. This is interesting because the guys who are expensive are so expensive. You need to have guys who could get usage. I don't think you could play. I don't think I would want to go. I think you'd want to get one of them in no matter what. I guess you could play Chris Paul, but it feels weird to play Chris Paul without having Harden on the other side of it. McCollum. I mean, so the crazy tournament play that I think people might be a little bit scared off that might be a really great play is Nurkic. In fact, I kind of like that one, but I would like to run that with LeBron, So it's kind of a tricky little situation over here.
Let me ask you,
Bam?
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you the ultimate mad scientist question. Not why wouldn't you, but I mean, I might try to do this on FanDuel. I don't know if I could make it work, but why don't you play something similar to what you were in contention with the other day? You get freaking Lillard, AD, and LeBron all together.
Yeah, absolutely. But just do it with Lillard, LeBron, and I just think you're getting basically the same thing you can get Lillard, AD, and LeBron, and that's fine. And I don't think that's going to be that unusual. I think people who play LeBron, it's like they're still going to play AD. AD's going to be so popular on FanDuel. It's not like you're getting any. Like I had that the combination of those three. I think were probably like 0.2% owned. Really. Okay. I mean, Lillard was 7%, and the other two were 18% on the board.
Right.
That's not going to be the case tonight. You're going to have 55, 65% AD, 20-something.
How do you do that and fade both Giannis and Harden?
AD is the easiest play in FanDuel of all time. Everybody's going to play AD. I mean, like you said, there's nobody else to play at power forward. He's going to be 55% owned at least, in my guess, but I don't know.
Well, also because, like we said, there's nobody to play at that's exactly what you just said. There's nobody playing the position.
Right. I actually kind of like this build I'm going through right now on DraftKings. It's really weird to actually try this on a playoff slate.
It's really funny.
No, because that's when you're getting out these guys. But what I'm doing is these guys are all good anyway. You know what I mean? They're all good. Like I have them all projected to seriously surpass value. Okay, so if we played over here, I've got
and there's still no news. We're continuing to watch it. There's still no news on.
I like what John Diaz says over here. I think it's a really, really unusual build. Like I can promise you, people aren't playing Paul without Harden. So to play Paul with LeBron and Giannis, there's absolutely no correlation there whatsoever, and I don't love it. But I like the four guys you went for. I just think that you're probably you're asking for an awful lot of things to go incredibly right, and none of them have to do with the game. So I'd worry a little bit, John, about that if I were you. But I do like the play. It's incredibly off the wall, but I can't see how it works because they all have to go off with nobody on the other side. Like, how is Chris Paul going to go off without anybody? It's just going to be weird.
What is he suggesting?
He said his value has to pop. He says no Harden with LeBron, Giannis, Chris Paul, and Jimmy Butler. I just don't think I would play Chris Paul without Harden as much today. I really just don't see why you need to. I mean, you can get one guy in comfortably, which is exactly why I'm trying to get none of them in.
That's really fun.
So let's see. Let me just see real quick. Hold on. And the funny part is I might end up with ownership on all my guys. Like a lot of them be in the 20 to 30, 40%, but I don't see anybody doing it just like this. Or at least not many people doing it just like this. Rolo, Schroeder. Schroeder. Wait a minute. Miles Turner.
You playing any Miles Turner?
I played him the other day, actually, a little bit because I played him and Bam in a lineup together. Kind of considering it. The problem is it does make you want to play Shea. Like, he's the guy who kind of fits into that funny here, you know? about like this? Just a bunch of guys who are going to get me 40 fantasy points, and then a couple guys who could get me 50. That's an interesting way to go. Butler, Middleton. I got to get this part done soon. Butler, Middleton. Who are some of the other guys you guys are trying to go for today? I don't think you necessarily need to go as wild, crazy off the board, even though it's a 4-game slate. I think you can find just a couple different pieces, but I actually really like this build I'm in right now, and probably going to end up sticking some with it because this is sort of what I wanted to do. I mean, you could play both of the other guys from Milwaukee in that game.
You like who? You mean Bledsoe?
I really like Middleton. Like, I really like him.
And no other ancillary pieces from that game, right? I mean, like DiVincenzo or any of those other Milwaukee, like George Hills or anybody. No, we don't need those today, right?
Also, the funny part is Whiteside is going to be owned on FanDuel and not going to be owned on DraftKings because of those construction, like, at all. So maybe Whiteside is like the ultimate. Yeah, I do think you can go back to Brook Lopez today. Absolutely. So because nobody's going to play him, they're going to play Brook Lopez, which is funny because Brook Lopez just put up 0 fantasy points like the other night, basically. I mean, here you have it. Like, I've got it built here, man. I like this build here. I'm feeling good about it. I've got little pieces of everything. I've got a little game stack to start off with, which, by the way, sounds bad about the Miami, Indiana until you realize that everybody's underpriced and they all put up, like, Brogdon's going to put up 40 fantasy points.
Okay.
I mean, he always does. He literally always does. In I don't know of a playoff game in this spot. Like, what did he put up last time? Let's see what he does. He put 40.8 last time, but he was 6 of 18 from the floor. Brogdon's going to have 40. Bam's going to have at least 40. Butler, in my opinion, is going to have 50. Middleton's going to have at least 40. Schroeder's going to have at least 30. Covington's going to have 40. Lopez is going to have 30. I mean, this is going to be a nice lineup. All right. I love it. I did it. My big buy-in lineup. I mean, I now it's too late for anybody else to really – nobody who's playing the 777 is probably watching this thing, or 888. And if they are, I don't know that they would just switch entirely to what I'm doing. But this is the kind of lineup that, like, it's just so not off the board, but it's completely off the board.
What does it look like?
It just doesn't have anyone over 7,900.
Well, no one's doing that.
I mean, and I get the argument for both, but, like, Aaron Holiday, by the way, still is starting. Which is much worse for Aaron Holiday, but FYI. Way worse.
At least I don't know. You say that every time you say that.
Right every time
I still start.
What's that?
I always get nervous when my guys have to come off the bench. I know they're going to eventually, but you just never.
What do you mean? You love playing Clarkson. What are you talking about? The ultimate example of the exact opposite of what you're talking about here.
Oh, this is going to be. You like any? You like any McCollum?
I mean, if his back wasn't, like, broken, I would like him. It's hard to recommend a guy like that. He doesn't look right. But I do like his price. He's another one of those middle-tier guys you could use. Between McCollum and Middleton, I would go with Middleton in this particular situation. But it's probably closer than I'm giving it credit for, and you just kind of scared me a little bit. All right. The thing is, if Gary Clark ends up playing on DraftKings, he's going to make a lot of sense. And that's going to sort of mess with that build a little bit. LeBron.
Well, this one's got potential. All right, listen, there's only 5 minutes. I got to run.
Okay, guys. Hey, thanks for tuning in. Sorry, we were just doing this last show. I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for hanging out with us. Sheets, last final thoughts? Who's going to break the slate?